Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into the absolutely brilliant insights from Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. Now, this isn't your typical finance book. It argues that doing well with money has way less to do with how smart you are and a whole lot more to do with how you behave.
So let's just kick things off with a real head-scratcher. You'd think that finance is all about math, right? Spreadsheets, formulas, big brains. But if that's true, why do we hear these stories over and over of geniuses making the absolute worst financial mistakes?
And this is a perfect example of the book's core puzzle. On one side, you've got Ronald Reed, a humble janitor who through just patient, modest saving ended up with an $8 million fortune. And on the other side, a brilliant tech executive who went completely bankrupt. The difference wasn't intelligence, it was behavior. It was patience winning out over greed.
Okay, so that leads us to our first huge idea. Your personal relationship with money, well, it's forged by your life experiences, not some universal textbook rule. I mean, think about it. Someone who grew up during the Great Depression is going to see risk completely differently than someone who grew up during a tech boom. Nobody is crazy. We're all just making decisions based on our own unique view of the world.
But it's not just about our personal history, right? To really get the full picture of why people succeed or fail with money, we have to talk about two massive, often invisible forces: luck and its twin brother, risk.
So let me tell you a story about three high school buddies back in 1968. Bill Gates, Paul Allen, and Kent Evans. They all went to a school called Lakeside, which, thanks to some very forward-thinking parents, had a computer. Now you have to understand, this was unbelievably rare back then. It gave these kids a massive, almost unimaginable head start.
Seriously, the odds of a high school student even seeing a computer in 1968 were literally 1 in a million. So that's the incredible tailwind of good luck that Bill Gates had. But his best friend, Kent Evans, the guy he dreamed of starting a company with, well, he was about to get hit with the headwind of risk.
Kent Evans tragically died in a mountaineering accident before he could even graduate. Just think about that for a second. The exact same insane odds, 1 in a million luck pushing one forward and 1 in a million risk pulling another one back.
So what's the lesson here? It's all about humility, isn't it? When we succeed, we have to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, luck played a part. And when we see other people struggling, we have to wonder what invisible risks they've been facing. It means we've got to cut ourselves and other people some slack. And once you really get your head around luck and risk, you realize something huge. Getting rich and staying rich are two totally different skills. Getting rich? That often means taking big risks, being an optimist. But staying rich, that requires a completely different mindset. Let's talk about the famous speculator Jesse Livermore. This guy was a legend. He made the equivalent of $3 billion in today's money by betting against the market right before the 1929 crash. But here's the thing. That success made him feel invincible. He kept making bigger, crazier bets, and in just a few years, poof, it was all gone. He was a genius at getting rich, but he had no idea how to stay rich. See, staying rich, that's a whole different ballgame. It's about a survival mindset. It's not about trying to get the absolute highest returns you can this year. No, it's about making sure you can't be wiped out. It's about staying in the game long enough for that magical thing called compounding to do its work. So this all begs a really important question. What's the point of all this anyway? What's the point of building wealth? For so many people, the goalposts just keep moving. More money just makes them want even more money. And that chase can be absolutely destructive. Take Rajat Gupta. This man went from being an orphan to the CEO of McKinsey. He had a net worth of over $100 million. But it wasn't enough. He saw his peers becoming billionaires, and he wanted that too. So he risked everything he had for something he didn't need. And he ended up in prison for insider trading.
And this is just a beautiful contrast to a story about the author Joseph Heller. At a party, some guy told him that a hedge fund manager made more money in a single day than Heller's masterpiece Catch-22 had earned in its entire history. Heller's response was perfect. The ability to stop the chase, to look around and say, I have enough, that is a financial superpower.
Because at the end of the day, enough doesn't just buy you a bigger house. It buys you your life back. It buys you freedom. It buys you control over your own time. The ability to wake up one morning and say, you know what? I can do whatever I want today. That right there is the highest dividend money can ever pay.
All right, let's get to our last big idea. And this one might mess with your head a little bit. We are trained to judge other people's wealth by what we see. the fancy car, the huge house, but Housel says that's a massive, massive mistake.
Think about this for a second. It's so simple, but it's so true. When we see someone driving a Ferrari, we're not thinking, wow, that driver is so cool. No, we're thinking, wow, if I had that car, people would think I'm cool. We use stuff to signal how great we are, but it's a hamster wheel, because the real prize, real wealth, is the stuff you can't see. So here's the key distinction. Rich is a current income. It's visible. You see people spending it. But wealth is income that's not spent. It's invisible. It's the money in stocks and bonds, just sitting there, working for you, buying you future options and freedom.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The tech executive with the flashy car? He was rich. But the janitor, Ronald Reed? He was wealthy. His $8 million fortune was built by being invisible, by living below his means. He chose being wealthy over looking rich.
Okay, so what do we do with all this? It's about a total mindset shift. It's time to stop obsessing over spreadsheets and start focusing on our behavior. First, figure out what enough really means to you. Second, play the long game. Prioritize survival over crazy returns. Third, use your money to buy back your time, not to buy stuff to impress people. And finally, always remember, true wealth is what you don't see.
So we'll leave you with this to chew on. What's one thing you could stop buying today to purchase just a little more freedom tomorrow? Because at the end of the day, understanding the psychology of money isn't about getting the biggest number in your bank account. It's about designing a life that truly makes you happy, and that is the best return on investment you could ever ask for.